Ali, great to see you again, my friend. It's a huge week in what has been a huge season so far. How are you feeling ahead of this one?
I've been good, man. I think everybody's been, happy this year. It's been a good year for us, and we're all looking forward to Thursday.
What does Thursday mean to the club?
It's huge, man. I think the club has never seen a final. They've been to semifinals about 8 years ago. Now we got a big opportunity for us. With all the success we've had this season. Playing against, a top team in the league and, arguably one of the best to ever play in front of 55,000, to get a win and to move on to finals, I think will be, one of the biggest moments for this club. And for, a lot of us want to be a part of that.
What is the run so far through Mexico and at the beginning, obviously, with Saprissa? What has it taught you about your club and how much has it brought you together?
Honestly, it's the way we've, executed and, played against these teams with bodies down, guys injured, people stepping up, especially the last one, the way, go down 2-1, a lot of us, didn't put our head down. Maybe some of us, thought, that could be it. But this group, man, just seeing that happen from the bench was just a wow moment. And I think it brought a different type of swagger and confidence to this group that, no matter who's out there, we're gonna get the job done. And I think we're resilient to go down to Mexico. The result in the other team's favor both times. To come out of there, advancing, is huge for MLS club and it's huge for us. And like I said, it's brought a different type of swagger to this group.
You mentioned no matter who you're playing, you just happen to be playing a team with some Messi this week. It's not your first time.
Yeah.
What do you think of when you hear that Messi is going to be playing you again?
Just another game. I'm joking. I've got the chance to play against him, twice, and once I was on the field. Third time, but still feels like the first time. It's gonna be special. It's definitely, Messi's definitely a player that almost everybody, has watched and, has praised and been in, just in awe of what he's been doing for how long, for 18, 19 years, And, arguably, like I said, one of the best to ever put on the boots, and being a professional myself, knowing how difficult it is to come in every single day and, do what he's done. It's special. So, like I said, there's a reason why we're gonna have 55,000 people on Thursday. So, but at the same time, as a competitor, you put all that aside, and once the whistle goes on, you're just locked in on just getting that the win, and trying to score as much as possible before the second leg.
That's Messi's story, which is of course historic, momentous, incredible.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you've got so much history there with him. Mm-hmm. Your story is pretty historic as well. If you'd have told yourself a few years ago, son of obviously Ethiopian descendants into Toronto, trying out for trials across Europe and not getting them, if you'd have told yourself that you get to play him in this kind of environment a few years ago, I mean, what would you have said? You never would have believed it.
No, honestly, I don't know if I would have believed it for real. I still have some moments where you just kind of, sit back and really, look at, everything, all the blessings and everything that, I've been given the last couple of years, and, a lot of the milestones I was able to hit, playing, against him in the Copa, and now playing against him in the semifinals, and everything is just, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Like you said, I don't know if I would have believed it, a couple of years, back, on this journey, but, I think it's just what makes everything for me special now, and just appreciating every day. Every day I get to report to training and games and just play. It makes everything sweeter.
When I watch you, I feel like I'm seeing a player under two coaches in Jesse and Jesper who are deeply caring about development. There are some coaches who are there just to get them out there and play. These guys seem to be really caring about improving you as a player. Is that fair?
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. Like you said, I've been, I think this year, having Jesper, it's been extremely beneficial for me to develop my game in key areas, and a lot of days on the training ground, just having conversations with him. It's the small little things that he talks about with me, and that goes a long way for me, and he understands that it's a process. It's a things will develop, and it's been good for me. I think he's helped me a lot, just in final third stuff, and then Jesse too, just bringing a different element to my game in terms of being intensive and intensity, and being smart off the ball and stuff like that. So I've been lucky to have two great minds to learn from.
I think there's only yourself and Moyes who've actually played the last 8 games for Canada. What does it mean to you when you hear that, to know that you've been so reliable for your country?
It's good to be healthy, and I think to hear that is just it's nice to hear that I've been featured in the last 8. It's good to know that you're a player the coach can trust, right, and put out there and compete against whoever it is. So it's good.
And that's what I mean, put out there, like from the start too. It's not like you're a bit part player anymore. You're starting big games, and obviously required to work with and without the ball. That must be an immense honor.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, Copa, I came in, and I was still kind of learning, the way, we wanted to play and stuff like that. So it did take me a little time to get integrated. I think that, for me, that Copa camp was very beneficial because it was not just a 1 week thing, and I think by the second week is when I really felt like I understood completely the way, we wanted to play and Jesse wanted to play. And, when I got my chance, I think I did well enough to continue, getting chances. And, I'm just glad to know that, when Jesse needs somebody, I'm there for him.
When you walk out on Thursday night to a full stadium at BC Place and you look around, will you think about the fact that that could be you again in another year for Canada, playing in Vancouver for a full stadium?
Yeah, and it'll give me goosebumps coming out to a full BC Place stadium a year away from the biggest event, and the event that every Canadian and every player, every soccer player, honestly, dreams to be a part of. So it'll be a good preparation for me to just come out of BC Place and see what it would be like to compete in a full stadium here, and hopefully the next year.
So hopefully you win the title, June 1, Concacaf Champions Cup winner. Then you go to Canada and play in the summer ahead of the next World Cup. In between June 25 and June 26, do you have goals? Do you have aspirations to move on or to just get better as a player? What is the thought process there for short-term and long-term for Ali?
You said June 25 to June 26?
Yeah.
What's going on June 25, June 26?
Quite a lot of things.
No, but yeah, like right now, you just, really locked in on just improving, game by game, and trying to, polish my game and be and get the best out of myself, before I think too far ahead. And then, like you said, win the title here. And then, we got some friendlies, and then, just do what I can control, honestly. Just whatever happens, obviously as a player, you want to be playing against the best at the best. Like even this Thursday, you're going to wake up with an extra little boost, extra energy because you're playing against, some big players and a big team. And, you only get this career once. So, you don't want to fall short or you know what I mean? So, of course, you have big ambitions. You need to have big ambitions to be the best. But like I said, just taking it game by game and see where it takes me, honestly.
You've come a long way, though, right? It's only 3 years since you debuted.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Only 3 years. Actually, yeah, 3 years ago today, I think I made my debut in Austin. Yeah, wow. So yeah, it's only that's crazy, man. Yeah, it's crazy. It's only year 3, but I feel it feels longer. I can't lie. With everything
you've accomplished
with
so
everything
much.
with everything that's come, it feels a bit longer. But yeah, just keep going.
I know your parents are proud, all your family as well. So congratulations. I know Canada thanks you for all the performances you did as well. So go enjoy Thursday night. Thanks, Alex.
Yeah, we will, man. We will for sure. Thank you.